Hey everyone, it's Mila. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will be showing you how to make a Roblox cheer uniform on Medibang. This is actually part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, I highly recommend watching that first, especially if you are a beginner, as I go over a lot of Medibang basics in that video. I went into a lot of details in this video, so I hope it helps you in your designing. Please ignore the fact that my voice sounds really gross right now. I have a cold, but yeah. Enjoy the video. When you open your template, you will have a layer 1. This is obviously the template. So after you open your template, the very first thing you should do before designing is add a layer on top of the template. And you want to do this because you don't want to actually make the uniform on the template itself, or you're not going to be able to transfer, and that's going to be not good. So always add a layer. Another option you can do is add a folder and then put a layer in the folder like this. And then if you study the uniform you're going to do, you'll notice, oh, it has black, white, and gold. I'm going to go ahead and name this folder gold. I'm going to make another folder, add a layer in that one. I'm going to call this one black. And oh my gosh, look at that, there's white too. Let's add another folder. Let's call it white. Let's add a layer in that folder. Bam! You've got folders for all your colors and you're going to be super organized. Now if you look closely, you can see that the white looks like it's going underneath the black. So the white should be under the black. And the gold is going to stay under the white because it's going to be easier when we get to the arms for the gold part. So, obviously you don't have to do what I just did with all the folders, but I highly recommend it. Now that we have our colors organized by folders, we're gonna start with black because I always start my uniforms with the neckline, and as you can see the neckline is black. So what we're gonna do is go to your palette over here, and you do not want to get a jet black color. You do not want a actual black color. You want to do a really dark gray. Maybe about there, because if you do a jet black color, it's going to be impossible to shade, so just do a dark gray. And since it is just a simple curved U-shaped neckline, we're going to go over here to the shape brush tool and the curve tool. We are going to size our pen to about, really whatever your personal preference is. This is about a medium-sized neckline. It's not too thick, but it's not too thin, so we just kind of have to eyeball it and see what looks good. You might have to try a couple times. That's okay. So we're gonna try 7.2 for the size first. I like to start my necklines about right here. So the very first thing I do is, I'm on the curve tool, by the way, I click once and then it should be like that. So to make it curve, you're going to click wherever you want it to curve. So I want it to curve about right here. And then if you do this, you don't have to drag it, by the way, you just have to click it. And then I just kind of line it up like that. Now I don't love how that looks, so I'm going to redo it. Again, you will have to work a lot with trial and error while designing, and that's okay. That looks pretty good. Okay, so we're really going to only focus on this side for now because we're just going to copy and paste it and flip it later. So, oh my god, my laptop's dying. Oh my god, my laptop's dying. Oh my god, my laptop's dying. There we go. She's not dying anymore. So, we will now have to work with this area up here. Your avatar's head will be about right here. So we're going to want it to curve a little bit to about here. So what we're going to do is, with the same exact tool that you're on, you're going to click where you started it, you're going to click where you want it to curve, and then you're going to double click, and then you should have that. And that's what we want. Now that we have this half of the neckline, we want to clean up the edge right here and up here so we can copy, paste it, and flip it. So I'm going to grab the fill tool, which is this square. I'm going to go up to the transparent option. I'm going to click in the middle, hold and drag, and then you will have that nice edge I don't know what to call it. And then you're gonna do the same thing to the top, like that. Now we're gonna take the select tool, we're gonna click and drag to highlight it, Control C, Control V, Control T, and then you're gonna flip it. And then drag it to where you want it to go. Then click OK. And now you have a neckline. Good job. As you can see, the neckline is now in 2 different layers in our black folder. We want that to be 1 layer. You go down to this button right here and you're going to click it, and that merges the 2 layers together. So as you can see, it is 1. But now let's look at the back of the uniform. See up here, the neckline goes all the way back to here, to this little V shape. We want that to be here, but we need it to line up with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to be in the layer. We're going to grab the select tool. We are going to click and drag, end it about here. You're going to Control C, Control V, Control T. You're going to move it to here, and you are going to flip it upside down, just like that. And then you will center it as well as you can. Good enough. Then you're going to click OK, and then once again you're going to come down here and merge those 2 layers together so they become 1. We are now going to go back to the shape brush tool, go back to the black color and the curve option. These are going to be your best friends, by the way, in designing. Okay, so we're going to do that little V thing. So click. You can also use, for this part, you can use the straight line tool, and all you would do is click and drag, just like that. And then we're going to basically repeat the same process that we did over here. Going to get the fill tool and the transparent option, click, drag to delete the edge, select tool, click, drag this part, and then copy and paste it, and then Control T, flip it, and then move it. Once again, merge the layers together. Now we're going to do this part right here. So for this, we are going to come over here to the shape brush tool, and yet again the curve tool, and we are going to do this part. So I start here, since this is the side of the sleeve. As you can see, there's a V right here. We want the V to be here. So we're going to start about here, and we are just going to take this up and end it here. And I'm actually going to change that a little bit. I'm going to move it up a little bit. And it's going to look just like that. So after that, we are going to, yet again, copy this and paste it over here. So we're going to click the fill tool button, the transparent, click and drag, get a nice edge, select, copy and paste it, and then flip it. And then you have that. And then you merge it. So you may find yourself deleting things that you have already merged, and that's okay. Like here, I want to copy and paste this over here, so I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this entire part and then redo it. And I'm going to select this and this because we want this front arm part to be on the side of the uniform so it lines up with the back. So we're gonna copy, paste, flip it, and drag it. It probably would have been faster to just do this part with the neckline so we didn't have to delete that, but since this is a beginner's video, I wanted to go in depth on how I do the neckline instead of trying to jump to two different parts of the uniform. Why was that so hard to say? So now the back is kind of cut out, and I'm gonna make it a little bit different. So we're gonna somehow connect this to up here. Actually, no, we're not gonna do that. Next, we're gonna do the band on the top. So we're gonna go to the black tool, the fill tool, and you want your band to end about here. Like, that's where you want it to end. So since that's where we want it to end, we want to start it kind of here. Depending on how thick you want the band to be, it's really a personal preference. I would just recommend having it end under the green mark, or your top may look too long. So I'm gonna make mine a little bit thicker. The thicker, the better. That was a joke. Okay. After that, we're gonna do something over here with this and the back. So I think I'm gonna just take it up like this. So, or you can do this. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna redo it though and make it not look ugly. Nope, good enough. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And then I'm gonna go ahead and write the brush size in case I need it again, because I'm about to change it. So the brush size is 7.2. And I'm gonna make it smaller and then do a little like. Sure, that works. Okay. So now we are going to clean the edges again. And then we're going to copy and paste it. So as you can tell so far, designing is very repetitive. So it looks complicated, but really you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Then you merge the layers. We are going to do the bottom of the sleeves now. I always do just a little like, I don't know how to explain it. Just a little, yeah, that. Perfect. So as you can see, this waistband, it's curved a little bit, so we're gonna kind of remake that. I bet you can guess what tool we're about to use. The curve tool. I'm going to make the pen size a little bit bigger. I want it to kind of match the top band size, but probably a little bit bigger. I think that's about good. So I'm gonna click here, click about in the middle. You don't want it to be dramatic, like this is too much. You just want it to go down a little bit. Even that's too much. I don't like that. So we're gonna redo that. Just a little bit down. And then straighten it out. Just like that. Once again, we're gonna copy and paste it, so let's clean it up. Clean up the edges. Hopefully you know how to do this by now. I feel like I've said it a few thousand times. So I'm just gonna quickly do it. Okay. Merge the layers. We're gonna go to the fill tool again, go to the black color, and then kind of click and drag to finish the back. Just like that. Hi, Mila editing here. I apparently lost a whole clip of me doing the white part on the uniform, but it's basically the same process as everything we just did, but I did it in the white folder and I did an off-white color. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and move on to filling this entire part black. Okay, so instead of doing this in the black folder, I'm actually going to make a new folder below everything, add a layer into it, and call this black top fill. Because we want this to be under all of this. So yes, 2 black folders. And just to make things a little less confusing, I'm gonna slightly make it a lighter shade of dark gray. We're basically just going to be filling in the top of the uniform. Pretty simple. You can use the regular pen tool to just kind of fill in. I'll speed up this part so you don't have to sit through it. Alright, so next we're going to clean up some lines on the white part because as you can see there are some weird things happening. So we're just going to take the eraser tool very carefully, just kind of straighten it out a little bit. This is tricky. Pretty simple. Okay, that's really all I needed to do. So instead of filling this part in white, I'm just going to add mesh here like I'm doing to the back. But we're going to do that after we do the skirt. So as I said before, we're just going to do a simple skirt. This is so easy. Basically what you're going to do is add a new layer underneath, and we're going to call it the skirt so we don't lose it. Add a layer into the skirt file and get your color, get the fill tool, and click and drag. Now for your skirt, you don't want to make it too long. You don't want it to be down to here because that is a very long skirt. You want to try to make your skirt about here. Here or here. Just kind of eyeball it. See what looks good. You can experiment with it. So I'm going to try like right here. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to keep that. Basically right here. Oh my gosh, wait, we didn't add the gold. Okay, let's add some gold. We're just going to add a tiny bit of gold. We're not going to go crazy, but we're going to go in the gold folder, kind of pick out a gold color. I'm just picking one from the uniform itself. And I'm just going to add a simple line, I think. Just like a... I don't really know yet. This part you might have to get a little bit creative with, trying to figure out where you want it to go. So I might have it like this, but then like fade off. Actually, no. I'm gonna add a gold line like right here. Maybe here. Sure, okay. We're gonna do that. Then you're gonna clean up the edge so it doesn't go onto the skirt. I feel like it needs more gold, but honestly I don't care. This isn't a uniform for anybody, so it's fine. We're gonna copy paste it to the other side, line it up. This might be a little bit tricky to line up, but I have faith that you can do it. Okay, we're gonna merge those layers together. Just like that. And then I'm gonna delete this. Okay, you basically have the whole base of your uniform now, which is great. But now we're going to add mesh all up here. We're going to go crazy. So yet again, we're going to add another folder to the very bottom, call it mesh, add a layer, and then you're going to get a jet black color. And then you're going to go back to your fill tool, and all you have to do is click and drag just like that, and fill in everywhere you want there to be mesh. So I kind of just want mesh all in the spaces where there's nothing. So even up here, I'm just going to add mesh. Once you have your mesh filled everywhere you want, you're going to go up here to the opacity bar, and you're just going to turn it down to whatever you want. I'm going to put mine at about 50 or 49, 50, doesn't matter. And then I'm just going to go in with the fill tool and a transparent thingy, and I'm going to clean up the edges to make it look a little bit neater. Just like that. We are officially ready to start shading everything. And I love shading. Shading is so fun, but if it's not done right, it could look a little weird. So I'm gonna teach you how I do it. The first thing I normally shade is the top. So I'm gonna go into the black top fill folder, basically everywhere where I filled the top with black, and we're gonna start shading that. How to do this? So you're on this layer, obviously, of the black top fill. You're on that layer. you are going to go up here and click Protect Alpha. Make sure that is clicked. Then you're going to go all the way down here to Add Layer. And you're going to add a layer on top of, you're going to add another layer on top of that. And then on this new layer that you just created, you're going to come up here and press Clipping. So now this new layer is clipped to this bottom layer. And basically what that means is when you go to shade with a black color on the top, it's gonna stay on the top and it's not gonna look like that. That's what clipping does. So it's clipped to the top and it's gonna make it look a lot neater. So add that and then clip. So using a black color, I'm gonna go in with the airbrush tool and I'm gonna size it down a little bit. And I'm gonna take the shape tool brush. You're just gonna make lines that go down, basically everywhere where it would fold on the template onto your avatar. That's where you want to shade. So that's what we're going to start with. It doesn't look like much, but we're actually going to keep adding on layers with more shading. So now that we have the lines like that, we are going to blur it to kind of make it look nicer. So we're going to go up to Filter and then Gaussian Blur, and basically you can make it whatever you want. I recommend keeping it kind of low. Like I'm going to put it at 8, just like that. So now I'm going to add another layer because we are not done shading this part. We're going to go back to the airbrush, and now I'm going to shade all of this top part, like around the edges. Alright, now I'm going to blur that, just like that. I'm gonna actually add a little bit more shading up here, so once again add a layer, and then I'm just gonna do that. And blur it. So after that I'm gonna shade this skirt using the same technique that I just used for the top. Honestly, my throat is starting to really hurt. I don't know why, so if I sound bad, I'm so sorry. Gonna shade under the waistband a little bit. Don't be afraid to add more layers as you're shading. You can never have too many layers. As long as you know where they are and don't confuse yourself, you're good. Okay, so I don't want to go too crazy on the shading, but I feel like it's not dark enough, so I'm going to go to the base color of the skirt, go to Filter, Hue, and then just turn the brightness down a little bit to about -18. Sure. I'm going to do the same thing to the top. Okay, so the next part that we're going to shade is the little gold. So we're going to go to the gold folder. We're going to go up here, Protect Alpha, add a layer, and then clip. We're going to click the gold color, and we're going to find a darker color of gold. That's about good. Go to your airbrush, and then right on the edges, actually want it to be darker than that, so right on the edges, just go like this. And then you blur that. If you want your gold to kind of pop out more, you can always add another layer and then go to a really light color and then kind of just do a little like shine effect just like that. And then it kind of makes it pop out a little bit more. Next we're going to shade the black that we did, basically all of that. So once again, protect alpha, add a layer, and then clip, get black, and then airbrush, and then right on the sides here, basically everywhere on the sides. Get up here. I'm gonna get a smaller brush and go right here. Get in there. And then once again, we just blur it. Very repetitive. And then to add some shine onto the black part, you're gonna do the same thing you did with the gold to add the shine. You're gonna add another layer, add a light gray, and then you just do that kind of wherever you want, to be honest. But as you can tell, that is a little bit obnoxious, so we're gonna blur it a little bit. Not too much though. About that much. And then we're gonna turn the opacity down over here, so it looks like that. Now we're gonna shade the white, so go into your white folder, protect alpha, add layer, clip. Now when you're shading white, you don't want to use like a dark gray, because then it'll look either silver or just bad. So what I do is I always use a bluish gray color. So not like blue, but like blue, you know? So kind of right there, I think, is what I want to do. So you're just going to go here, here, here. Basically the same exact process that you've been doing. And then you're going to blur it. Alright, we're almost done shading everything, but now we're going to shade the mesh. So we're going to go to the mesh folder. So when you try to shade with clipping the layer, you won't see it. I'm not really sure why this happens, so if you do know and you could tell me, I'd appreciate it. But what we're going to do is just add a layer on top of it and then just shade as normal, but then you're going to have to erase everything around it, which is fine. But just go right down the sides, like so. Okay, we're going to start by blurring that out. That looks pretty good. So now we're going to add another layer and get a smaller brush size, and we're gonna go on like this part right here. Basically just add more shading to wherever you want. I like to do like the edges over here because it makes it look kind of 3D in a way. But it's whatever you want to do. I'm not sure how long this video is going to be, but I can tell you that I've been recording this so far for 3 hours, so I'm assuming it's going to be pretty long. Okay, so after that, you blur it, surprisingly. And then you can just erase whatever is left over. So all in here, we want that gone. Over here, we want that gone. Not that. all over here. Oh, you're going to want to go back to the first layer too to make sure it didn't get anywhere where you don't want it to be. This is the basic way to shade a uniform, but there are more advanced things you can do to make the uniform look even more realistic, but I'll save that for another video. So yeah, this concludes part 2. Part 3 will be adding details, sparkles, and text, and transferring templates. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!